Welcome friends and fellow addicts. My beloved B24 gets metal leaf springs. So, installed these metal leaf springs and it's been a roller coaster ride, yo-yo, up and down, good and bad, the whole way through. So, first and foremost, you get the tabs and the leaf springs and these hangers. The metal stiffening springs and the brackets for attached to the axles are separate. They were intended to go on the titanium style axle upgrade, but that's on hold for now. Originally when I bought these a while ago, there weren't any pictures about being installed, and now I know why. Going to look back at the listing, there's some things that you pick up on. These are milled a bit too thick, for the frame rail, so you've got to shim them with washers, which are included in the pack. Installed the rears first. Yeah, that sort of went alright, except it was sort of binding up. I've since sort of played with the fittings a bit and that's loosened up. Plenty of play in there. And as you'll see, it's a right old lift, which is good for clearance, but not so good in other places. Get to the front axle, and you'd think the hangers go on the front. And speaking of the hangers, conventionally on leaf springs you would get them front and rear on the springs, because like this, can you see the profile of the movement? It's sort of moving back, it's not moving up and down, which would occur with front and rear hangers. So that's a bit iffy, to say the least. So originally I installed the front axles with hangers at the front, and that creates its own sort of problems. I might have some B-roll footage showing the problem, which was the steering doesn't fit around the suspension, especially when you've got it below the steering arms. In the online pictures of the seller's listing now, they are showing it installed, except they've cut a servo horn down at the neck of it and attached it to the bottom of another servo horn to bring it out of the way of binding up with the suspension. But as you see here, what I've done is put a long bolt in and brought it up parallel above the spring. After swapping the suspension front to rear, so the hangers are at the rear and you've got more tolerance for putting stuff across the suspension at the front now. Yeah, that took a fair bit of working out. I tried mounting the axles above the leaf spring, thinking that there's way too much lift. That might be feasible if you had hangers front and rear on the springs, but as it was way too close anyway. So there's a picture of it. So my conclusion originally with my install and review of this was just do the 3D printed version. Other than durability of the plastic, I think it would be a better solution all round. However, in the time since doing this, I've actually had time to drive it and make use of it. So as you see, I've got the 370 motor upgrade with a metal transfer box, but that combined with a suspension brings another problem. Look at the real awkward angles on the drive shafts. This one's at 45 degrees or over 45 degrees and this one is. So my rear axles, alright. Originally I've used from the first metal upgrade that came out for the WPL kits, but therein lies the problem. On the front axle, it was jackknifing at a certain rotation and locking up. So I've changed to this sort of drive shaft and it's better because you've got a bit more space between the yoke and the attachment shaft. So that seems to be working. However, do bear in mind you will probably need some aftermarket drive shaft and not this sort. This one's right on the edge of it. And as you can see, with the front, you've got the drivetrain sort of angled down to some degree. That's not how drivetrains work going into the diff. Should be sort of inclined about 5 degrees, I think. I could be wrong. So with all that, you get this hardware as well, an Allen key. These are M2, I think, and it seems to me that this is all drilled out for M3, so I might swap that out in the future, and it might tighten it up. As you can see, there's a lot of slop in these fittings due to the small hardware. There was also another bit of a problem where the tabs mount up behind the frame rail to the cross members and there's not enough space, so consequently that's making it cambered as well a little bit and sending the alignment off. So hence, as me remaking this for a second time, love-hate, if you really want to do it, you can do it, but do be aware there are some hurdles. But the gem in the crown is the motor combined with this lift. A lot more capability. It'll crawl up something higher than its bumper now and lap it up, but do take heed, it is an awkward upgrade to do and you're going to have to work around its shortcomings. here's the original springs, and you are gaining, I don't know, about ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch in lift for the axles, so it does look like a Unimog, like a real off-road, rugged, heavy-duty one now. So that's good. Love and hate, you decide. Any questions? Happy to answer them as always. And thanks for watching. Happy crawling. You Billy. Hey.